Previously on Blood Moon, Travis and the Movement. As promised, I listened to him until the beer was gone. In the end, I agreed to meet up after I settled up with the Movement. Once I was back on the streets, it didn't take long to pick up their stench. They hadn't gone far. A little over an hour later, I was outside their bar. Some shithole in the wall spot in the industrial district. I recognized one of the guards at the door as the driver of the car that hit me. The weasel-faced fuck that shot me was inside. I could smell him. Letting the wolf out would be a mistake. Somebody was bound to get away. There were too many people. Getting in without being noticed wasn't gonna happen. I needed to clear the door. Since the goons hadn't seen me yet, I backed off. When I got to the street, I glanced around till I spotted a few empty bottles. Smiling to myself, I hurried over, grabbed a couple that I found. I found me a nice spot with a clean shot at the front door. Once I was in position, I gathered a few nice-sized rocks, then pissed in the bottles till they were full. The plan was to throw the rocks through the windows of a couple of the cars. Then, when they came to check, I would bomb them with the piss grenades. They'd go running around trying to find who did it. And while they were doing that, I'd slip inside and get to work. As soon as I was ready, I let a rock fly. It shattered the rear window of a Chevy, and that instantly got their attention. When the guards were in range, I fastballed the first bottle directly at the driver. My aim was a little better than I thought it was. The bottle exploded on his forehead, shredding his face with broken glass and piss, while knocking him off his feet. When he went down, the other guy ducked for cover. Since he didn't see where the bottle came from, he accidentally put himself directly in the line of fire. Feeling proud of my first throw, I squared up like a baseball pitcher. I rocked back and sent the second one screaming at its target. The bottle shattered on the back of his neck, showering him with glass and piss. By the time those two idiots gathered themselves and started looking for me, I was walking in the bar. As I stepped inside, some big bald dude glared at me and said,
Members only! You're in the wrong place, shithead!
Ignoring him, I glanced around the bar and spotted a pair of familiar faces. I was halfway across the room before the big guy from the door clamped a meaty fist on my shoulder. Before he could say another word, I turned and let him have it with a hard left hook to the jaw. I felt the bone crack on contact and the big man went down. When he hit the ground, I grabbed a pistol from his waistband and put 2 rounds in the first person to move. The guy that ripped me off was a skinny little prick they called Rabbit. The second he recognized me, he hopped up from his seat, pointing at me.
That's him! That's the guy I was telling...
Turning the gun on him and pulling the trigger, I put a bullet through his brain before he could finish talking. You've got 5 seconds to give me my fucking money. 1. I paused, then turned and shot the bartender. 2! Taking aim at some random chick at a nearby table, I pulled the trigger again. 3! As I took aim at a new target, an older guy called out from the back of the bar.
Okay, enough! Give him his fucking money before he kills someone else!
I'm not sure who the old-timer was, but when he spoke, they listened. One of the younger members brought out my cash. I had him counted out to me just to be sure they weren't shorting me, then took him hostage and backed out. Once I was clear of the place, I let the kid go and got the hell out of there and disappeared into the night. Chapter 8. Bits and Pieces. It turns out I wasn't the only one who had a bad night. While he didn't get robbed or ran over by skinheads, Nate wound up with his own problems.
So, Skinny Mike tells me there's a new guy running H in Palmer Heights. He's supposed to have the cleanest skag on the streets right now. This guy's name is Marco or Monroe, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I plan to go in to cop a couple of bags and then check the place out for later. As soon as the door opened, I knew I was in the wrong house. This Amazon-looking chick opens up and she's completely naked. Hands down, she had the best body I'd ever seen in my life. I'm talking full-on walking wet dream. I didn't know what to say.
Pausing to light a cigarette, laughing to himself, he took a drag and shook his head.
Now she's looking at me, I'm looking at her, and nobody's saying anything. It's just this dry, awkward moment, till she finally asked me if I'm there for the party. Of course, I said yes, I'd be an idiot not to. She smiles and waves me in and closes the door and leads me to the basement. As soon as we hit the stairs, I smell latex and baby oil. And now my mind's racing. I'm thinking, I'm walking into an orgy. This is gonna be great. When we get to the basement, I see people everywhere. They're all wearing shiny head-to-toe bodysuits. They were dry-humping each other while the amazing Amazon chick and 2 naked dudes walked around pouring baby oil on all of them, man. The thing is, you kind of expect music when stuff like this happens. But nah, man, all I could hear was them moaning and groaning by candlelight. Anyway, while I'm taking it all in, I notice there's an empty throne set up overlooking the crowd. As I'm seeing that, one of the guys that was pouring oil went to the throne and grabbed a bag from behind it, and he started handing these out.
Nate dug in his pocket and pulled out a small plastic tube filled with a bright red liquid. Popping the cap off, he showed me that it was a single-dose, disposable syringe. All you had to do was tap a vein and squeeze. Looking it over, I had to ask, "What the hell is it?"
I don't know, but I tried it. This stuff's insane. I was so high I couldn't control myself. I changed, then I blacked out. When I woke up, everyone was dead. While I was looking for some clothes, I wound up finding boxes of these things in a walk-in closet.
Getting up from his seat, he went to the hall closet and came back with a shoebox-sized white paper box. Handing it to me, he smiled.
There's 1,000 doses in each box, and we've got 13 boxes. From what I can tell, it's going for $20 a pop. That's $250,000 for us if we can sell it all.
Well, it sounds good to me, but I've got a question. Why do you know how latex smells? He looked at me blankly for a second, then quickly changed the subject.
Anyway, how'd things go on your end?
Laughing and brushing it off, I told him everything and agreed I should meet with Skip the next night. After Nate left, I mainlined a dose of my own and instantly recognized the high. This was what the tweaker was on when he tried to rob me. A warm sensation rolled through my body, causing my muscles to twitch before completely relaxing. I felt like I was melting into the sofa, becoming one with everything as the world around me changed. The walls fell away, revealing colors I had never seen, and shapes I couldn't understand. The pattern shifted into faces with too many eyes and no mouths. They spoke in every language, making it impossible to understand, but somehow I knew they weren't there to hurt me. The faces dissolved into swirling pools of darkness that surrounded me. As the warm sensation slowly cooled and the colors vanished, I could hear people laughing and having a good time, but they were fading as if I were moving away from them. As the voices got low, almost too hard to hear, my ears started ringing, and tiny dots of light started appearing in the darkness. The void slowly morphed into a clear sky as a cool breeze blew, bringing me back to reality. The first thing I noticed that I wasn't naked. On the other hand, I had no idea where I was. Getting up and looking around, I quickly discovered I was on the roof of an abandoned storefront a few blocks away from my house. Once I was back on the ground, bits and pieces of the last few hours started to drift back into my memory. After I got high, I got up and went for a jog. The funny thing is, I'm not a jogger. Things get hazy after that. The next thing I remember clearly is music. I'm not sure where it was coming from, but there were people standing in line and I was talking to a woman. She had beautiful brown eyes and her skin smelled like honey. I don't remember what was said, but whatever it was, we wound up making out in the back seat of an Uber. From what I could tell, nothing bad happened. Smiling to myself, I strolled home and got the best sleep I'd had in a long time. When I finally got up, most of the day was gone and I felt great. After a hot shower and a Jack Daniels wake-up call, I hit the streets. The first order of business was Skip. Since Price told me they've been able to track me by using the bus, I bought a bicycle that I used to get around. The trip downtown didn't take long. We were meeting near the old courthouse on 3rd Street. When I rode up, he was sitting on a bench eating something out of a styrofoam container. Taking one last bite, he handed the food to a kid that was standing nearby, then got up to greet me.
Nice bike. You're a little early, aren't you?
Shaking his head and smiling, Skip motioned for me to follow him, as he told me about the group we were about to see.
Before we meet up with the others, I gotta warn you, these guys
are a little strange. They call themselves the Lycan Society. Most of them are good people, but their leader tends to be dramatic.
When I asked him what that meant, he chuckled and said,
"You'll see. I don't want to ruin the surprise."
After traveling for a good 45 minutes, we came to an old-looking apartment building. The place was in good shape for its age. Even the grounds were well kept. Stopping to chain my bike to a nearby pole, I glanced around, then turned my attention to Skip. "I'm telling you right now, if this goes wrong, I'm fucking killing you first. Who am I supposed to be talking to when we get in there?" Smiling, Skip lit a cigarette.
His name's Joshua, but they call him Alpha. It's more of a title than a nickname. I suppose he'll have to change that now.
Nodding in agreement, I looked at the building one last time, then asked which floor we were going to. That's when he told me the entire building was theirs. Apparently, Joshua came from a wealthy family. He used his money to buy this building and start the Lycan Society. Stepping through the main entrance, we were greeted by a man and a woman dressed in gray robes, with burgundy sashes draped over their shoulders. They separated us, and I was taken by the woman to the elevator. As soon as the door slid shut, I started asking questions. "So, what's the deal here? Why in the hell is everyone dressed like that?" Doing her best not to make eye contact with me, she smirked.
"It's a special night."
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I was starting to get irritated by how secretive everyone was being. Before I could ask another question, the elevator chime sounded, and the doors opened. Smiling, she motioned for me to get out. As I stepped off the elevator, she finally looked me in the eyes and nodded before pausing, then pressing the button to go down. Something about that look bothered me, but there was no time to focus on it. In front of me was a massive room. They had gutted the 5th floor and turned it into an almost museum quality shrine to the wolves. Standing in the center of the room, dressed in a floor-length wolf fur robe, was Joshua. Skip wasn't joking when he said this guy was dramatic. His movie star good looks were capped off by a mane of silver and black and brown hair that had been dyed to match his robe. His eyes, which were clearly colored contacts, were a pale blue that made him look more like a corpse than a wolf. Topping off his look was a staff, capped by a golden wolf totem about the size of a bowling ball. This guy was a fucking clown. I could barely keep myself from laughing at him. In an attempt to show his dominance, he stared me directly in the eyes and spoke calmly.
"Welcome, my friend. It's an honor to have you in my den. Please, follow me."
We walked and talked as he took me on the tour of the displays. It turns out the Lycan Society was more of a cult than a pack. They believe by becoming wolves, they get closer to God. Their sole mission in life was to find a natural, to turn them and become a real pack. Excitedly, Joshua stopped, pointed to an old painting, and smiled.
This one in particular might interest you. It's a depiction of King Lycan of Arcadia. He's believed to be the first of your kind.
Nodding, I looked at the painting, then at him. No offense, but ain't here for the fucking tour. I came to talk business. Can we get to it or not? Dropping the phony smile and the theatrics, he finally got to the point.
Indeed. What is it I can help you with?
I don't know how much the old man told you, but I'm putting something together and I need numbers.
From my understanding, you're starting a pack.
Digging my cigarettes out of my pocket and firing one up, I chuckled. Something like that. I need people I can trust. There's a lot of money involved, and I don't want to have to kill a bunch of you to prove a point.
Trust is a two-way street, my friend. How do we know you are who you claim to be?
Taking a long drag of my cigarette, I glared at him for a moment, then exhaled the smoke. I didn't claim to be shit, and I ain't your fucking friend. But if it makes you feel any better, I could turn and eat a couple of you. How's that for proof? Maintaining his grin, Joshua shook his head.
That won't be necessary, but we will require visual confirmation of your change. If you're a pureblood, I'll gladly give you the people you need. All I ask in exchange is to be turned. I'm fully aware most people don't survive the change, and I assure you that won't happen to me. It's already in my blood. And the last living relative of Peter Stump, I'll be just fine. As for the others, they'll follow commands without question, even if it kills them.
It was clear to me that this asshole didn't care who he sacrificed, as long as he got what he wanted. Yeah, whatever. Listen to me. I am only saying this once. If we do this, and you try some funny bullshit, I will fucking kill you and tear you to pieces. That goes for you and all of your people. Am I fucking crystal clear?
Understood. Earlier you mentioned money. Fair compensation should be a part of this conversation. My people will require payment.
Taking a drag and rolling his offer over, I nodded to myself. It always comes down to the money. That was fine. I'd pay him off with Price's cash to get the ball rolling. Okay, that's reasonable. I've got to tie up a few loose ends and lock down some territory. But when that's done, we will talk. After hammering out a few more details, Joshua took me to the third floor, where all of the members were gathered, waiting. The minute we stepped in the room, the crowd disrobed and stood naked in front of us. Using his staff, Joshua tapped the floor twice, and all of them knelt down. With a hint of pride in his voice, he turned to me and said,
"The floor is yours, my friend. Show them."
I'm not shy, but this was really uncomfortable. Stripping down in front of a room full of naked strangers just felt wrong. Turning in front of them was even worse. When it was all said and done, they were convinced, and I needed a drink. Once back to being human again, I got dressed, then had one last word with Joshua before being escorted out. Skip was waiting for me in front of the building. The minute he saw me, he strolled over and asked,
So what's the verdict? Do we have a deal or what?
You held up your end, so yeah, we're good. Let me sort out a few things, then we can get started. With that, we shook hands and parted ways. The ride to Nate gave me time to roll everything over. I wasn't worried about Joshua and the Lycan Society. I had an ace up my sleeve. If they'd done some real research, Joshua would have known that all turns are bound to the natural that turned them. The one that worries me was Skip. His plan was to go to LA. That was a problem. I couldn't risk him taking my scent to an area with established packs. The attention we were about to get was gonna be bad enough, without having to worry about more enemies coming from the west. Chapter 9. Taking care of business. With all the work Nate had been putting in, things were getting rough. He had taken out a couple of mid-level guys and was getting some pushback from the locals. Rather than wage an all-out war, we needed to find a way to smooth things over and get back to making money. When I made it back to our new spot, there was trouble brewing. Nate was out front, arguing with a group of guys, and things were getting heated. As I came to a stop, one of them pulled a pistol, and all hell broke loose. Hopping off my bike and rushing in, I grabbed the first person I came in contact with and slammed him so hard I heard bones break. Moving to the next person, I grabbed a fistful of dreadlocks and snapped the dude's neck. As my second victim fell, I turned my attention to Nate as he charged the guy with the gun. He never stood a chance. Nate snatched it out of his hand, then shot him in the face before letting off a few rounds at the last of them as they ran away. Laughing and turning to face me, he motioned to the bodies.
Looks like we're eating good tonight, man.
What the fuck is wrong with you? The cops are gonna be all over this place. We gotta get out of here now.
Police don't come out here. That's why everyone wants this spot. Besides, you just killed 2 guys. This ain't all on me.
Wrong. One's knocked out and the other's paralyzed. I don't have to eat either one of them. You, on the other hand, have to do something with that fucker before he starts stinking. Tucking the pistol in his waistband, Nate shrugged and leaned down and grabbed the guy by the ankles. As he started dragging the body away, he paused, looking at the other 2 of them, then at me.
So you're seriously not gonna eat those?
Chuckling to myself and lighting a cigarette, I shook my head. I probably will, but that ain't the point. We don't need this kind of heat right now. Once everything was cleaned up, Nate told me what caused the problem.
Since we didn't pay for the product, I was pushing everything at half price. When the word got out, it was like a Black Friday sale. Every smoker around was pounding down the door. Nobody could beat the prices, so the block was dry for everybody but us. As you saw, that didn't go over well with the locals, and you know the rest.
It made sense. A play like that was supposed to ruffle some feathers. It was the fastest way to see who was running things in the area. Now we knew it was a local gang calling themselves the AKN. Neither of us knew what the letter stood for, but it didn't matter. Having them around was going to help us in the long run. I'd come up with an idea of using the Lycan Society to work the block while we moved to take over more territory. Putting recruits into action would weed out the ones we didn't want. The ones that excelled would get the mark, while the rest kept working to earn theirs. The few that survived would stay with us until they were ready to be on their own. Once they were ready, we'd put them in charge of a spot. Then move on to the next newbie. Doing it this way would keep all of us off the Northerners' radar for a while and allow us to dig in before they came at us. The next part of the puzzle was a breeding age female, a natural. We had to have at least one in order to be considered a real pack. The problem is finding one. Nate suggested we get Lizzie because she'd pass for one until we could find the real thing. I knew she would never agree on her own, but I didn't want to use my power over her to force her into it. Plus, no matter how close she looked to the real thing, a natural would be able to tell immediately. The big packs enslaved their turns and used them as foot soldiers. I never wanted that. It was one of the reasons I stayed away from them. In any case, we had time. The whole situation got pushed to the side so we could focus on what was right in front of us. We just couldn't plug the Lycan Society in and expect it to work. There was a lot of money on the table, and shit like that changes people. Any one of them could cut and run with the cash. One of us had to stay put long enough to get things in order. Since Nate had done the work, the spot was his to command. Once I sealed the deal with Skip and delivered the recruits, it would be my turn to go out and set up shop somewhere. I already had a spot in mind. I was going to war with the movement. Wiping them out was gonna be fun. I almost couldn't wait to get started. With the plan in motion, I left Nate with his meal and headed home. About halfway there, I stopped at a random gas station for a beer. I had just taken my first sip. Then a white Land Rover pulled up in front of me and let the window down. A familiar voice called out,
"Sleep."
Then everything went black.
"Wake up."
Price's voice boomed through my brain, waking me instantly. I was back in the containment unit, staring at the ceiling. As usual, they were pumping the nauseating combination of pine and ammonia through the vents. Wincing, I sat up to see Price seated across from me, thumbing through a file. Without taking her attention off what she was reading, she said,
"I see you've been busy. Good. So have I. After our last conversation, I had the lab do a full workup on your blood. It would appear that you're undocumented. Before you, there had only been 3 known bloodlines. So I'm going to ask you again. Where did you come from?"
Chuckling to myself, I put my head down. How many ways can I tell you to go fuck yourself? We both know you're not gonna keep me here, so say what you gotta fucking say and let me the fuck out.
Lock right 300.
Her words sent a shockwave of pain through my right side. From my right eye to the toes of my right foot, every muscle on that side of me seized up. Tilting her head to the side, watching me for a second, Price smiled.
With the right combination of words, I could turn you into a vegetable. A lot of things are worse than death, and if you don't answer the question, you're gonna learn that firsthand.
She paused to study the look on my face, then nodded.
Unlock right 300. Now, as I said, where are you from?
As the pain faded and my mind cleared, I shook my head. You didn't drag me here to ask stupid questions. What do you fucking want? Giving me a stern look, Price closed the file and stood up.
We want you to bring us the natural bloodlines. So far, all you've done is play gangster and cause problems.
I hate to be the one to break it to you, but this shit takes time. There's no way around it. My advice? Get comfortable. You're gonna be here a while. Price silently nodded, then waved to the control booth before turning her attention back to me.
Time is one thing we don't have. You've got 2 months to bring me results, or we're taking another approach.
As those words crossed her lips, the vault-like door unlocked, and it made me sit up. 4 armed guards hustled in and took positions before she said,
Follow.
I involuntarily got to my feet and followed her out of my cell. We walked down a long corridor to a big room where 4 men were being held. Once the doors were sealed and the guards were in position, the doc turned to me, smiled, and whispered,
Eat.
I felt myself changing, but I couldn't control it. The men watched a few seconds, then turning, and they all collectively began freaking out. One of them noticed Price calmly standing by watching and tried to rush her. He was instantly gunned down by one of the guards, while the others were screaming and pounding on the door. I couldn't feel anything. I was trapped in my own body, forced to watch myself tear those men apart. I ate till I was so full I couldn't move. Then Price called out,
Shift.
As my body slowly began transforming back to my human state, Price stepped closer and stood over me.
One way or another, you'll do as I say. Sleep.
When the doc's voice brought me back to reality, I opened my eyes to see the cargo doors of the van slide open just before I was thrown out. The bastards didn't even bother to stop. I hit the ground and rolled as they sped back onto the highway. I didn't realize where I was till I glanced up and saw Oz standing in front of the store staring at me. When he recognized who I was, he jogged over to help me up.
Dude, what the fuck was that? Why are you naked?
Once I was on my feet, he helped me inside the store and gave me something to wear. Since I couldn't tell him what happened, I made up a bullshit story about getting robbed, then had to call Nate to come pick me up. While I was standing out front, Oz came out and handed me a lighter and a pack of smokes. Firing up a joint, he took a big hit, then looked at me and shook his head.
I know you didn't get robbed. It's cool. I get it. You don't want to talk about it. I'll keep this between us. But just so you know, there's hotlines for shit like this. You should talk to somebody.
Fuck you, Oz. What are we smoking tonight? Smiling, he pulled out a baggie of joints.
It's my special blend. Blue lotus flowers with albino kush and just a touch of hash oil. I call it slow boogie. Here, take a couple for later.
Digging in the bag and plucking out 3 joints, he handed them to me.
I gotta get back inside. Tell Nate he still owes me $40.
With that, he took the joint we were smoking and went back to work. An hour later, Nate pulled up. Once we were on the road, I started making plans. Price has to go. I thought it could wait, but I was wrong. Nodding, Nate chuckled.
It's about time. Say the word, and I'm on it.
I have to settle up with Skip and Jacob first. When that's done, we're gonna end this.
Sounds good to me, but we got another problem. Our supply's almost gone, and we don't have a connection. With Lonnie out of the picture and Sergio cut off, the AKN and the movement are the only plugs left. Last time I checked, we're at war with both of them, so we're done if we don't come up with a source.
Passing him the weed and shaking my head, I leaned back in my seat. Great. We'll figure it out. For now, just drop me off at home. We'll link up tomorrow. When I got back to my place, most of the night was spent coming up with a way to kill that bitch Price. She had a pattern of showing up when I was alone, and she always had backup close by. I figured there had to be a tracker linked to the thing attached to me. Since there was no way to take it out, I needed someone to keep their eyes on me at all times. If I forced her to come to me and had people waiting, there was potential for an ambush. The idea was a variation of something Nate mentioned a while back. We wait for them to come get me, then attack. The problem was, we still didn't have anyone on our side. The 2 of us may be able to get a handful of them, but in the end, numbers win, and they had the upper hand at the moment. There wasn't enough time to turn anyone and have them ready to fight. Plus, there was a chance they wouldn't survive the change. We needed an instant army with a reason to fight for us. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, Joshua's face popped up in my head. We could have the Lycan Society take care of this. If they pulled it off, it would seal our deal, and I'd give them what they wanted. If they failed, there was no deal. But considering there probably wouldn't be any of them left, it wouldn't really matter. It felt like a solid play to me, but I wanted to run it by Nate to get his thoughts. The next morning, I got up bright and early. When I made it to Nate's place and laid out the plan, he paused for a moment, then looked at me and asked,
"Why don't you wear earplugs?"
A little confused by the question, I asked him what he meant, and his response was this:
"If Price gives you an order, you have to follow it. But if you can't hear it, she can't control you. All you'd have to do is fake it. Let her get close, then wham! It's over. As long as we can get to her snipers before you get to her, it shouldn't be a problem."
That one little tweak made a good plan better. Now, all we had to do was put the pieces in play. The first order of business was getting Skip taken care of. Since Nate was busy dealing with our supply situation, he gave me the keys to his car. I hadn't noticed he'd gotten it back until right then. When I asked him about it, he told me the car turned up at his buddy's chop shop. From there, he tracked down the asshole who had taken it and killed him a few days back. Shrugging it off, I hit the road, headed towards downtown to meet up with Skip. As usual, he was hanging out near the old courthouse with a few others. When he saw me pull up, he jogged over to the car.
I was starting to think you forgot about me. How's it going, Chief?
Popping the locks, I shook my head. For someone living on the streets, Skip had to be one of the happiest people I had ever met. A deal's a deal. Get in. It's time to go. Skip nodded, then turned and motioned the girl he'd been talking to over. Pulling a brown paper bag from his coat pocket, he handed it to her. After giving her a hug, he told her there wasn't enough in the bag to get a motel room, but a bus ticket to anywhere she wanted to go. With tears in her eyes, she thanked him and hugged him one last time and walked away. When he finally got to the car, I asked him what that was all about.
She needed a way out, so I gave her one. Not sure if it's gonna help, though. There's some things you can't run from.
I didn't bother asking for details. The last thing I wanted to hear was somebody else's problems. We rode in silence all the way to Joshua's place. My plan was to turn Skip there and have them look after him as part of my deal with the Lycan Society. This way, they'd have experience in handling the change, and if he died, they could get rid of the body. When we got to the complex, I gave Skip the rundown on what was about to happen and made sure he was ready. He assured me he was. So, we headed inside. As soon as we stepped through the doors, the first person I saw was the girl from the elevator. She had us wait in the lobby because Joshua hadn't arrived yet. As soon as we got comfortable, Skip trotted off to the restroom. Once he was gone, the girl came over and sat next to me.
Oh, you don't remember me, do you? We met at a club a few weeks back. I'm Farah.
For some reason, the moment she said her name, I recognized her scent. Honey. Yeah, I remember you. How long have you people been watching me? Frowning, she shook her head.
We haven't been watching you. I didn't know what you were till you showed up here.
I didn't believe a fucking word she said. Leaning back in my seat and taking a good look at her, I pulled my cigarettes out of my pocket and lit one. Taking my first drag, I exhaled and glanced around. When's Joshua getting here? I ain't got all day. Slightly surprised by my response, she politely nodded her head, then stood up and told me she'd go check. As she left the lobby, Skip came strolling in, drinking a cup of water. Taking a seat across from me, he asked,
So I was thinking, either a forearm or a leg. I figured a bite there wouldn't be so painful.
"You smell like shit. I wouldn't bite you if I was starving." Sneering at me, Skip stopped talking. Not long after that, Joshua finally arrived, and I laid out my offer. After negotiating a few terms, he accepted, with the understanding that he would be turned if we pulled it off. Now that the pieces were falling into place, I settled up with Skip and left him in the hands of the Lycan Society. I was almost ready. All I had to do was pick the right person and have a snack. Chapter 10. Dead Bait. It took a couple of days, but I eventually picked out a guy named Frank Lancaster. He was running for city council and had billboards all over the place. Tracking him down wasn't hard. He was making public appearances as part of his campaign. All I had to do was wait for his next press day, show up to get his scent. It would be another week before I got my shot. Everything went as planned. I actually shook the guy's hand. It was perfect. I tracked him to a gated community just north of the interstate. Once the sun went down, I stopped by for dinner. The house was well protected. A 6-man security team patrolled the grounds, while a 7th man circled the block in an unmarked car. I thought it was a little excessive for a guy that claimed to be a man of the people, but it didn't matter. Since storming the place was out of the question, I waited till around 2 in the morning and snuck past the guards. After climbing up to the 2nd floor balcony, I was able to enter the house through the sliding doors. I didn't need the layout to find him. All I had to do was follow his scent. The last room at the end of the hall was the jackpot. Lancaster and his wife were sound asleep. The problem was, there were kids in the house. I could smell them. As a general rule, I don't kill kids. Granted, there's been a couple of times my hand was forced, but I do my best to avoid it. The problem here was, when the screaming started, the kids would do one of two things. Either they would hide, or they would come running to see what was happening. I just hoped they would hide. Opening the door and slipping into the hall, I closed the distance while partially shifting to my natural form. Not going full wolf takes a lot of muscle control, but it was the only way I could pull this off. When I got to the door, I eased it open without making a sound and crept inside. Eyes locked on my targets. I slowly shut the door. The instant it closed, I attacked. Taking a step forward and launching myself towards the bed, I almost immediately came in contact with the missus. She had just enough time to open her eyes before my claws ripped through her lower jaw and throat. The impact of me landing on the bed broke it. Well, that also woke Frank, but he never got a chance to react. The first and last thing he saw when he opened his eyes was the inside of my mouth before I bit into his skull. Shocked and a little proud of myself for not making much noise, I chewed down my snack as I went to the window. Taking a quick look around for the guards, I scanned the yard, making sure the coast was clear before opening it. Smiling to myself, I climbed out, dropped down, and was gone before anyone knew what happened. Once I was a few miles away, I cleaned myself up, spent time wandering around. The trap was set. It was just a matter of time till Price showed up, and I was trying to picture how things would go.
Well, now, things are picking up speed with Travis. It looks like soon he will have his pack. Now we have to see how he deals with Price.
Hey, Steve-O, how you doing?
Hola, es grande hombre. A little Spanish lingo there for you.
Oh no, not again. Gah! What are you doing here?
Aw, come on, Steve. You know you missed us.
Yeah, like I miss hemorrhoids. Both of you are a big old pain in my ass.
Whoa. Let's not go there. This is a family show, remember? So we thought we would stop by the Dark and Disturbed studios and see how things were going. Yeah, enough with the nice stuff, Steve. We hear you've got some fresh meat, a la a new intern.
Well, not really. We have a new narrator. The Nightwatcher really liked her voice, so we asked her to join the cast here at Dark and Disturbed Tales. As we speak, she is in the booth working on some new recordings.
Cool. Well, we'd love to meet her. We like fresh meat. New interns.
Deadtxt is not an intern. Got it? She's a narrator. A very good one. Please, be nice and don't scare her away.
Oh, come on. Would we do that?
Oh, good Lord. Hey, Deadtxt. This is Steve in the studio. Would you mind coming down here? There are a few, folks that would like to meet you.
Sure thing, Mr. Taylor. Be right there.
Hi, Mr. Taylor. Who are your friends?
This is Jesse Cornett, and the other half. Where did Archie go?
Well, hello there, Deadtxt. I'm Archibald Carlyle. How are you doing?
Oh my god, you're so adorable! I'm gonna give you a big hug.
Hey.
Ouch! You bit me.
Yeah, we try not to get down on his level. He bites.
Well, hello, other half. The Nightwatcher tells me that you're a really sweet and kind person who's just misunderstood. You know what? I think you need a hug and some lovin'. Come here, big guy.
I think I may have left the stove on. I gotta run. See ya.
Wait for me.
Ooh, goody. Hide and seek. Here I come.
Well, that was unexpected. I think they were not expecting that.
Yeah. Love and kindness is not really their thing. I think Deadtxt scared them.
Yep, I kind of like that. Well, friends, it is time for us to go. I do hope you will join myself and Jesse CORNETT on the next episode of Dark and Disturbed Tales.
And may the darkness embrace you.